The Toronto Maple Leafs were the only Canadian team in action last night, and they did what they do best, blow a lead. Oh, doctor, did I just say that?
Let's give you another one.
No. A late third period lead eventually falling in overtime to the Blues 2-1. This was expected to be a year, this was expected last year with a young team, but with success comes raised expectations. Austin Matthews wants the recent trend to stop.
I don't know if it's really like a learning experience. We had enough of that last year, and obviously, the other day before our break, and then tonight. So we just got to find a way to win because this game should have definitely been our 2 points, and we obviously let it slip away.
That's salty, Austin Matthews. You don't see salty Austin Matthews a lot. Perturbed. Yeah. Leafs have struggled to close out in their last 3 games. It has been a bit ugly here. Yeah. Tim, do they get a pass for their recent play at all, in your opinion? Because of where they are in the standings right now. It's still in a playoff spot. It's not life or death. Is this end of the world stuff? Because some Leaf fans are starting to edge towards semi-panic based on the way it's gone.
Well, they don't get a pass. Why would they get a pass? They
the young team, they're still
learning. Won a game in regulation. The 2 wins that they have in the last 8 games came in extra time.
Correct.
Like, they shouldn't get a pass. What we're seeing here is a team that you knew kind of sort of had problems with their defense, and no matter how many goals go in or when they go in, you're seeing a bit of a trend here, and that would be concerning if you were a fan of the Toronto Maple Leafs. And I completely understand it, and I don't think they should get a pass because I understand what Mike Babcock is doing. He is attempting to make sure that they understand that come playoff time, when it matters the most, they've got to be able to win close games. And to their credit, I think going into last night, the Leafs had the 3rd best winning percentage in 1-goal games of anybody in the NHL.
Good number.
So they were winning 1-goal games.
Solid.
But what I don't understand is I feel like the reins have been put on this team in order to teach that. And yet I believe that with all of this offensive punch, they should be scoring more goals than they're scoring now. If the end result is if you end up with the means to the end, if you end up with the right end result in all this, then all is forgiven. But right now, I feel like they're not scoring as many goals as they should, and there has to be a healthy balance. And I'm sure Babcock will get there. That's part of the teaching. But the healthy balance to me is if you can blow a team out in the first 10 minutes of a game, go ahead and do it. Right? Like if you can score 4 goals right now.
Which we've seen them do.
A number of times, go ahead. But I understand you're waiting for the playoffs. You don't want to be that team. I mean, think how close they were to moving on around last year with that running and gunning. Can they just flip a switch and get back to that? I think defense is harder to teach. I think that's why Babcock's doing this. But I just wonder if he isn't stifling the offense a little bit in the search for, well, we know defense wins in the playoffs.
It does. Well, thank you for bringing up defense, because what's also approaching, aside from the playoffs, is February 26th,
right, which
is the trade deadline. And Tim, earlier this season, I was in the camp of, if you can add another defenseman, do it. Mm-hmm. Even if it's upper echelon, find a way to make it happen. You can't pay everybody eventually.
Right.
You're going to have to Chicago Blackhawks your way through this.
Right.
So just make the move if you think the move is there, because the Leafs look like they're a little bit better and they have a bit more experience, yada, yada, yada. I can't help but look at this team, Tim, that consistently hangs their goalie out to dry. Let's be honest about it. Frederik Andersen is the most tired guy in hockey right now. Another 40-shot effort last night. I have a hard time looking at this Leaf team, and if I'm Lou Lamoriello or Brendan Shanahan, like, do you really think you're that close to anything significant? I just don't know if this is the team you do that with right now. This team's starting to develop a bit of a rep as to who they really are, and it's good enough in a bad division to get you in the playoffs, and no one should be faulted for that. Mm-hmm. But I just don't know if this is the squad that earlier in the year I felt good about saying, make that move.
But hold on
a second. Move those chips in.
You just talked about the Chicago Blackhawks. Like, it's not just the Chicago Blackhawks anymore. The Calgary Flames had to do it, right? The Winnipeg Jets might get to a spot where they've got to do it.
To a certain extent.
The LA Kings have had to. The Edmonton Oilers, right?
The Oilers.
And they haven't won a damn thing. They won 1 round. The Calgary Flames had to maneuver, figure out, and they didn't win anything. The new NHL is you're going to have to continually evolve And while your best players are cheap, you've got to take advantage. And that's the dilemma that sits in front of the Leafs. You are right. You're bang on. Is this a team that is a legitimate Eastern Conference contender as currently constituted? No. But you never know how long that's going to last, where that's going to go, who you're going to have on your team when you're ready to take that step. Like, I think if there's something out there for this team, especially on the defense, take the swing. If you don't think you're getting good return, never reach. But if it's out there, take the swing.
Kipper and the guys on Hockey Central at noon today. Really interesting discussion. And Kipper's been on this for a while. Ice time up front.
Yeah.
Like Zach Hyman and Leo Komarov are playing the same as Austin Matthews.
Right.
Overblown, or is there an angle there? Because there's a large section of Leafs Nation that are on this big right now.
Babcock talked about it, and it's obvious he loves the puck retrieval guys. And I don't mean to go all Pierre Maguire on you and use puck retrieval. But Zach Hyman is out there because he goes and does the dirty things. Is he going to put up the points that other guys are? No. He's never going to be that guy. But it's obvious to me that Mike Babcock wants one guy on each line who goes and gets it for the skill guys. And Zach Hyman is one of those guys. And if he has to play the same amount of minutes as the skill guys that he's playing with to do it, it's obvious that's what Mike Babcock wants to do. I don't know if it's the right thing. Kipper would know more than I. Yeah. But I tend to trust Mike Babcock until you can no longer trust him.
It's just
and
really,
that's me, the flipping of the switch. Yeah. Right? Like, if he needs goals in the playoffs, will he have Zach Hyman out there as much as he does right now?
I don't know, but it's listen, I'm with you. I don't know how big a deal this actually is. Listen, if none of the forwards are coming back to help, what's the problem?
Right.
If no one's scoring right now and no one's helping the guys in the defensive zone and Anderson's seeing more rubber and rubber and rubber, I don't know what the discussion is.
Right.
Because it's not like Matthews has been tearing it up lately either. So, no, he's your best player. But I feel like, again, when you see the numbers, though, it is kind of staggering to see a guy like Zach Hyman have the same ice time as the #1 overall pick that you tanked to get. There's an element to that side of the argument that I do empathize with that makes complete sense. When you look at them together, the numbers for those players, it's shocking in a certain way. Yeah. And I just don't. I don't know when that changes with a guy like Babcock, who's very set in his ways, and no one's going to move him out.
Is there a sport where glue guys are more beloved than in hockey, or like it's
if you're a Raptor glue guy, if you're PJ Tucker, if you're JYD, no fan base loves a glue guy like a Raptor fan base.
That is very.
Are they good? I don't know. He works hard.
Right.